Now it's time to take a look at the starting lineups. First for the Carnegie Mellon University Tartans out of the University Athletic Association. The middle blocker is a 6-foot freshman from Palo Alto, California, and Palo Alto High School, number 1, Sophie Pan. At right side hitter, a 6'2 senior from Houston, Texas, and Clear Creek High School, number 2, Bella Woodard. At outside hitter, a 6-foot senior from Davie, Florida, number 4, Catherine Jackson. At setter, a 5'7 junior from Los Angeles, California, and Harvard Westlake High School, number 8, Naya Tumala. At defensive specialist, a 5'5 junior from Tiburon, California, and Deerfield Academy, number 9, Zoe Zavros. At middle blocker, a 6-foot senior from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and Hampton High School, number 10, Kai Herkenrother. And at outside hitter, a 5'9 junior from Corte Madera, California, and Redwood High School, number 18, Kate Zhang. The Tartans are coached by Ann Bach, a 1998 graduate of Juniata College. Now in her 7th year, Bach is 103-53 as the head coach of the Tartans. She's assisted by Aaron Street, a 2006 graduate of Wheeling Jesuit University. Starting it off for the Baldwin Wallace Yellow Jackets, at middle hitter, a 6-foot freshman from Cleveland St. Joseph Academy, number 3, Grace Kane. At setter, a 5'7 senior from DeLand, Florida, number 6, Katarina Blazetic. At outside hitter, a 5'11 senior from Naperville, Illinois, and North High School, number 7, Gabby Schlecht. At right side hitter, a 5'10 junior from Tiffin Columbian High School, number 10, Lexi Smith. At outside hitter, a 5'9 sophomore from Berkey and Evergreen High School, number 15, Lila Nash. At middle hitter, a 5'9 sophomore from Oakwood Village, Ohio, and Bedford High School, number 17, India Woodson. And a defensive specialist is a 5'4 senior from Pemberville Eastwood High School, number 23, Paige Contras. The Yellow Jackets are coached by Kate Latkovic in her 2nd season. She is assisted by Anthony Winter, T.R. Harker, and Sophie Chacon. The graduate assistant is Molly Harrison. The Yellow Jackets in yellow jerseys today, with brown and white bands around the sleeves of the jersey. The numbers printed in brown, trimmed in white on the front and backs of the jerseys. And the libero will be in white with gold numerals trimmed in brown, with brown and gold accents around the sleeves. The Yellow Jackets will have the BW Athletics logo on the back nameplate of the jersey, and they'll have Jackets written in brown, trimmed in white on the gold jerseys. Baldwin Wallace written in brown, trimmed in gold on the white jerseys. Carnegie Mellon in the all-black look today, with Carnegie Mellon written in white, trimmed in red underneath the numerals. Also printed in a white, trimmed in red, with the Carnegie Mellon Tartan logo right above the front numeral of the jersey. And the libero will be in red with a white numeral on the front and back, the Tartan logo on the back nameplate, Carnegie Mellon underneath the number on the back. And Carnegie Mellon also written in front, on the front of the jersey in white. The Tartans will hit left to right in this first set. The Jackets will hit right to left, and Nea Tamala will start it off for the Tartans. It's played by Smith, up to Blazetic, over to Nash on the left side, dug out by Gavros. It's set up for an outside attack from Zhang, blocked at the net by the Jackets, but kept alive by the Tartans. Zhang tips it over a block. It's backed up by Smith. To Blazetic, to Nash. Nash has it blocked back. She hits it back over on the first try. Now an outside hit from Woodard. On a dive, it's kept alive by Schlecht. To Blazetic, back row attack from Smith. It's blocked down by Sophie Pan. It's a Tartan point, and they will stay on serve. Tamala floats it over. It's played by Smith. To Blazetic, middle hit from Woodson. Tamala to Gavros, to Zhang on the outside, and she buries the kill going far sideline. Found a nice gap in the Yellow Jacket alignment, and she buried it for the point. Nea Tamala will stay on serve. It's played by Contras, up to Blazetic. Back row attack for Schlecht, and Tamalo hits it. It's sent over to Zhang, and that's going to be another kill as it deflects out of bounds off of the arm of Paige Contras. Good hit by the Tartans. They were out of rhythm as there were one-armed passes, I should say, made with the first two hits, but Jown buried it anyway. Tamala floats it over. Schlecht receives the short serve. It's set up for Nash through a block. Tamala with the second hit off of Pan, and then it's sent out by Kate Jown. So point for the Yellow Jackets. It's their first point of the first set. They trail it 3-1 here in the first. Katarina Blazetic will be the first to serve for the Yellow Jackets. Jown up to Tamala, back to Jown on the left side with a roll shot over a block on a dive. Blazetic keeps it alive. Contrast to Nash. It's dug out by the Tartans, hustled after by Tamala. Now Jown with a big hit, kept alive by Schlecht, sent over on a second hit by Nash. Now middle hit for Pan, and she buries the kill through a block. Kate Jown will be on serve now. She's the team leader in aces with 15. Schlecht on the reception to Blazetic. Over to Smith, over top of a block with a roll shot, and it's good. Correction, that was Nash on the kill for the Yellow Jackets. Nash will sub out. Katrina Kastner will check in. She's a 5'3" freshman defensive specialist from Oregonia and William Mason High School. She's also the Yellow Jackets leader in service aces on the year with 9. Jown on the reception to Gavros. On the outside to Jackson. Dug out by Schlecht. It's sent back over to Schlecht. Gavros will punch it over on the first hit, not purposely, and it'll result in a Carnegie Mellon point as the Yellow Jackets can't keep it alive on a dive. Gavros will check out, and Kai Herkenrother will check back in. Sophie Pan will drop back to serve for the Tartans. It's played on a dive by Kastner to Blazetic. Over to Woodson. She punches it over. Kept alive by Tamala. Sent over to Woodard. She'll play it over on a free. Kastner to Blazetic to Woodson, and she puts it down for the Yellow Jacket kill. Good middle hit by the Yellow Jacket sophomore. Now checking in, Grace Kane. Woodson will check out. Paige Contras will be on serve with the Jackets trailing by a 5-3 count here in the first set. It's played by Jown, played backwards. Gavros follows it up. Jown will send it over on a free. Contras up to Blazetic. Big swing from Kane, blocked by the Tartans. Now Schlecht with a big swing, also blocked, but it'll be played up by the Tartans now as Woodard with a hit. Blazetic on the dive, keeps it alive to Contras. Over to Lexi Smith, tips it over a block. Gavros to Tamala, quick set over. Played by Contras to Blazetic. Now to Kane. It's kept alive by the Tartans. Jackson with an outside hit, dug out by Paige Contras. Blazetic with a set. Schlecht with a hit. It's dug out by Gavros. Tamala to Jackson off the top of a block. Kastner keeps it alive. Blazetic to Lexi Smith. It's blocked at the net. Sent back over by the Yellow Jackets and then punched to the back line for a point by Kai Herkenrother of the Tartans. Melissa Jin will come in to replace Bella Woodard, and Jin will go on serve. Schlecht plays it all the way over on reception. It's tipped down by Herkenrother and sent underneath the net by Lexi Smith for another Tartan point. And with that, the Baldwin Wallace Yellow Jackets have burned their first timeout. We're going to take it with them. And when we come back, we'll have more first set action for you in the Marcia French Volleyball Invitational from Baldwin Wallace University on Flow College. Hello, everyone, and welcome back inside Ursprung Gymnasium at the Lou Higgins Center on the campus of Baldwin Wallace University. It's day 2 action in the Marcia French Volleyball Invitational. Carnegie Mellon versus Baldwin Wallace. Carnegie Mellon on serve, and the Yellow Jackets will get a kill off of a deflection. And that will cut the deficit to 3. It's Carnegie Mellon in front 7-4 early in this first set. Morgan Kaler comes on to serve. She's a 5'2" freshman defensive specialist from Galloway Ohio, and Hilliard Bradley High School. And she'll punch it over. It's played by Jackson. It goes backwards. Gavros will check it down. Jackson will send it over on a free. Schlecht up to Blazetic. Over to Kane. It's dug out by Jin. Up to Tamala. Back row attack for Zhao. Dug out by Contras, but goes right over the net. And for the second time in this first set, Herkenrother with a dump kill at the net. Seeing the ball come right to her in the middle of the net. She puts it down in a gap on the left side. That'll put Katherine Jackson on serve. And she powers it to the back row. Kaler to Kastner. Schlecht sends it over. Jackson to Tamala. Over to Zhao. She punches it back row, and it lands on the line for a Carnegie Mellon Tartans point. Jackson stays on serve for the Tartans. And she smashes it just a little bit too far. That'll result in a Yellow Jacket point and BW going on serve. Nash returns for the Yellow Jackets as Kastner will take a seat. Schlecht will go on serve. It's played by Gavros to Jackson. Over to Zhao. She'll send it over on a free. Kaler to Blazetic. Over to Nash. She'll tip it over a block attempt. Backed up by Jin. To Tamala. Now to Zhao. She powers it through a block for a Carnegie Mellon kill. Herkenrother checks out. Sophie Payne returns for Carnegie Mellon as Zoe Gavros will go on serve. And she hits the line for a service ace. The Yellow Jackets let it go, thinking it was going to go out of bounds, and it dropped at the right time for Carnegie Mellon, right on the line. Gavros' next serve, played by Schlecht to Blazetic, over to Kane through a block. Jackson to Tamalo, over to Zhao with a roll shot. Dug out by Kaler, back row attack for Schlecht. Dug out by Jin. Up to Tamala, back row attack for Jackson, and she sends it out of bounds for a Baldwin Wallace Yellow Jacket point. Grace Kane on serve for BW. It's played by Katherine Jackson. Up to Tamala, over to Zhao. Off her back foot, sends it over. Kaler to Blazetic to Woodson for a middle hit, and then it's blocked back at her, and Woodson said, I'll just take it myself, and she puts it down for the point. So Grace Kane will stay on serve for the Baldwin Wallace Yellow Jackets. It's played by Jackson. Up to Tamala, over to Zhao on the left side with a roll shot. On a dive, it's kept alive by Nash. It'll be sent over on a free by Kaler. Gavros to Tamala, over to Pan, and it's blocked out of bounds by the Baldwin Wallace Yellow Jackets. It's a point for the Tartans. Bella Woodard comes back in to replace Melissa Jin, and going on serve is Nea Tamala. Tamala's serve, played up and nearly over by Kaler. It's kept alive on a dive by Gavros, and Zhao sends it back row. Contras to Kaler. Blazetic plays it over on a free. Tamala to Gavros, over to Zhao on the left side, and it's dug out by Schlecht. To Blazetic, tipped over by Woodson, and it's down for the Yellow Jacket point. Katarina Blazetic on serve for the Yellow Jackets. Zhao on the reception to Tamala. It's punched over by Pan. Blazetic to Contras. To Lexi Smith. It's blocked, and it's an infraction against the Baldwin Wallace Yellow Jackets. It's a point for the Tartans. And Kate Zhao will be on serve now. It's played by Schlecht, up to Blazetic, over to Smith. She tips it over. Payne will send it back over. Woodson fires it back on the first hit. Now Jackson with a big swing from the outside, sends it over. Bolzetic with a set. Smith through a block. It's down for a Yellow Jacket point. Kastner serve, played up by Gavros, over to Jackson off the top of a block. Contras to Blazzetic, over to Lexi Smith, backed up by Woodard, to Tumala, over to Jackson, and she buries it for the kill. Sophie Payne on serve. That was nearly out. Kastner played it anyway. Blazzetic over to Woodson, and Woodson can't tip it over the net. It hits the tape and falls down on BW's side of the net, and that results in a Carnegie Mellon point. Carnegie Mellon up 15-9. The Baldwin Wallace Yellow Jackets elect to use their second and final timeout of this first set. We will take it with them, and we'll be back with more first set action between the Tartans and Yellow Jackets from the Marcia French Volleyball Invitational right here on Flow College. Hello, everyone, and welcome back inside the Ursprung Gymnasium at the Lou Higgins Center on the campus of Baldwin Wallace University. It's a 2025 Marcia French Volleyball Invitational. Day 2 action underway between Carnegie Mellon and Baldwin Wallace. Carnegie Mellon on serve. The Jackets, in the form of Lexi Smith, send it over on the reception. Herkenrother over to Tumala. It's played up by Kastner. Now Woodson buries the kill, back row for the Baldwin Wallace Yellow Jackets. That's an impressive swing from the sophomore. Really good net play in the middle for Baldwin Wallace. Grace Kane comes on and subs out Woodson as Paige Contras will be on serve. Gavros plays it back row over to Tumala, now to Jackson. Off a couple of deflections. It'll be sent over on a free by Kane. Tumala with a set, and it's hit out of bounds by Herkenrother. But the line judge will say that it was deflected by the Baldwin Wallace Yellow Jackets, so point goes over to the Tartans. As Melissa Jin will come on for Woodard, and she will go on serve. Jumping right-hander, played tight to the ground by Kastner, sent over by Kane, and it's down for the Yellow Jacket kill. Lexi Smith checks out. Morgan Kaler comes on for the Yellow Jackets, and Kaler will be on serve. It's played by Jackson. Up to Tumala. Over to Herkenrother. Contras on the dig. Over to Blazzetic. Now to Kane. She'll fire it over. Tumala with the set. Jackson with a swing through a block. It's fired back at the Tartans, but Jackson sends it back over. Contras on the dig, over to Blazzetic, now to Schlecht. Jaun up to Tumala, over to Jackson, left side, and Jackson sends it just a little bit too long. Point to the Yellow Jackets. They cut the deficit to 4. 16-12 is our score here in the first set. Kaler stays on serve. Jackson on the reception. Up to Tumala, quick tip, it's down for the kill. Catherine Jackson on serve, and she hits it into the net for an error. The point goes over to the Yellow Jackets. Lila Nash comes on to replace Katrina Kastner. Gabby Schlecht will go on serve. It's played by Jackson. Up to Tumala. Back row attack from Herkenrother. Played up by Blazzetic, over to Nash. Dug out by Jackson. To Tumala, over to Jaun on the left side off the top of a block. Schlecht will back it up. to Contras. Now over to Nash. It's kept alive with a one-handed hit from Gavros and then sent over and out by Catherine Jackson on a back row attack. Schlecht will stay on serve, looking to cut into a 3-point deficit. It's played by Jackson. Up to Tumala, over to Zhao on the left side, into a block, backed up by Jackson. Tumala with the set. Zhao will punch it over. On a dive, Contras will keep it alive. It's sent over to Nash, and it's down for the Yellow Jacket kill. And BW has trimmed the deficit to 2 and will stay on serve. But before we get that next serve, the Carnegie Mellon Tartans have burned their first timeout, leading by a 17-15 count. We're going to step aside with them when we come back. More first set action for you right here on Flow College. Out of the timeout, the Yellow Jackets had serve. Gabby Schlecht sent it over, and then Herkenrother just buried a kill from the right side to reinstall the Tartans' 3-point lead. Carnegie Mellon on serve was Gavros sending it over. Schlecht sends it tight to the net. It's blocked at the net, and the point is awarded to Carnegie Mellon on a lift as Blazetic went to hit it over, and then it was stuffed by Carnegie Mellon, and then she got her hands underneath the ball, and that was an infraction. Kaler on the reception, over to Blazetic, over to Nash, off the top of the net, it's down for a kill. Woodson comes back on for the Yellow Jackets as Grace Kane will drop back to serve. Played by Jackson, up to Tumala, middle hit for Pan, deflected by Kaler. Schlecht tracks it down in front of the bench. Woodson sends it over on a free. Gavros to Tumala, over to Zhao on the left side, and she buries it through a block for Tartan's point. Jin will check out. Bella Woodard will return for Carnegie Mellon. Naya Tamala will check in, or rather will go on serve, I should say. She's been in the whole time. It's floated over, played by Contras, tight to the net to Blazetic, tipped over by Nash. Backed up by Pan, over to Tumala, back row attack for Jackson. And that's going to result in a kill as Contras hit it, but it took a funny carom, and instead of going left, the ball went right, careening right into the wall here at Ursprung Gymnasium for a Tartans point. Tumala's next serve, played by Contras, up to Blazetic, over to Woodson, dug out on a dive by Tumala, over to Pan, now to Woodard. Contras will dig it out to Blazetic, back row attack for Schlecht, handled by Gavros, over to Tumala, now to Woodard, she'll play it over on a free. Blazetic to Contras, over to Nash, blocked at the net, kept alive by Woodson. Now Nash hustles after it and can't reach it on a dive, so another point for the Tartans. Tumala on serve. It's going to result in an ace as Kaler's reception went into the basketball hoop apparatus, and Schlecht on a dive couldn't keep up with the pinball action. And it fell to the court for a Tartans point. Tumala stays on serve. It's played by Schlecht into the net. Blazetic will hit it for the second time, and Nash can't get it over on the third. So the Yellow Jackets charged with 4 hits, and it is set point now for the Tartans. Jumping right-handed serve, played by Kaler, up to Blazetic, over to Nash. It's blocked out of bounds by the Tartans. It's a point for the Yellow Jackets. Katarina Blazetic will drop back to serve for BW. hits it over. It's played on the fly by Jackson on the reception, and it goes over and lands right on the sideline for the set point. The teams will switch sides after Carnegie Mellon takes the first set 25-17. And when we come back, we'll have opening action of that second set between the Baldwin Wallace Yellow Jackets and Carnegie Mellon University Tartans in the 2025 Marcia French Volleyball Invitational right here at BW. And you're watching on Flow College. Hello, everyone, and welcome back inside the Ursprung Gymnasium at the Lou Higgins Center on the campus of Baldwin Wallace University. It's NCAA Division III volleyball action in the 2025 Marcia French Volleyball Invitational hosted by BW. And the Yellow Jackets find themselves down 1-0 against the Carnegie Mellon University Tartans, who took the first set by a 25-17 count. Leading the way in that first set for the Tartans with 5 kills each, Kai Herkenrother and Kate Jown. 3 kills each for Sophie Pan and Catherine Jackson, and 1 for Nea Tumala. Sophie Pan hitting at a 600 percentage, Tumala at a 500 percentage, Herkenrother at a 625 percentage in that first set. 9 of the 12 set assists went to Tumala. The other 3 went to Pan, Jackson, and Gavros. 2 service aces belonging to Tumala and Gavros. And leading the way in digs with 8, Zoe Gavros. And then a pair of block assists went to Sophie Pan and Jown, who combined on Carnegie Mellon's 1 total block in that first set. Leading the way for the Baldwin Wallace Yellow Jackets with 4 kills each, Lila Nash and India Woodson. And it was 1 each for Grace Kane, Gabby Schlecht, and Lexi Smith. Woodson hitting it at 273 percentage, Nash at a 267 percentage. All 10 set assists in that first set went to Katarina Blazetic. Leading the way in digs with 9, Paige Contrast, and it was 5 each for Blazetic and Schlecht. The Jackets did not register a solo or assisted block in that first set, and they did not have a service ace. BW as a team had 11 kills, 4 errors, and 51 total attacks, a 137 hit percentage. The Tartans had 17 kills and just 4 attack errors and 51 attacks for a 255 hit percentage. The Jackets will hit left to right in this second set. The Tartans will hit right to left. The Jackets will start on serve with Katarina Blazetic doing the honors. And it's played off the top of the net and sent over by Herkenrother on a free. Nash to Blazetic, over to Smith. It's blocked at the net. Woodson backs it up. Blazetic over to Smith. Jin will hit it out of bounds for the Tartans, so it's a point for the Yellow Jackets. On the floor to start this second set for BW, Blazetic, Schlecht, Contrast, Smith, Nash, and Woodson. Tumala, Herkenrother, Jown, Jackson, Gavros, and Jin on the floor for the Tartans. Jackson with a back row attack, dug out by Contrast. Woodson will punch it over, and it will land on the line for the Baldwin Wallace Yellow Jackets. Woodson did a good job to avoid the block attempt and then find a gap in Carnegie Mellon's alignment. Katarina Blazetic stays on serve. Jown on the reception, up to Tumala, over to Jown, left side. She goes near sideline and buries the kill for the Tartans. Bella Woodard will check in, and she will spell Melissa Jin. Serve played over and sent over by Jackson, or rather to Smith, I should say, for the Yellow Jackets. And then on the hit back over, Woodard buries the kill for Carnegie Mellon. So Tumala will stay on serve. It's played by Lexi Smith. Up to Blazetic, back to Smith through a block. It's backed up by Gavros to Tumala. Middle hit from Kai Herkenrother, and it is down for another Carnegie Mellon kill. Tumala's serve, played by Smith, up to Blazetic. Woodson with a middle hit, sends it out of bounds. It's a point for the Tartans. Tumala serve off the top of the net, dive from Schlecht, keeps it alive. It's sent over by Nash on the deflection. It's a point for the Baldwin Wallace Yellow Jackets. Katrina Kastner checks in and goes on serve. It's received by Jean over to Gavros. Jean will send it over on a free. Kastner up to Blazetic, to Woodson, dug out by Gavros. To Tumala, Kai Herkenrother sends it over. It's played by Contras. Now Lexi Smith tries to send it over, and Gavros will dig it out. Back row attack for Catherine Jackson. Handled by Kastner. Quick tip from Blazetic, dug out by Gavros to Tumala, over to Woodard, and she powers it over, but it's played up and over by Gabby Schlecht. Tumala over to Jean, into a block. It's backed up by Jackson, and the Yellow Jackets are called for an infraction at the net. The point goes over to the Tartans. Kate Jean on serve, on a dive. Kastner will keep it alive for the Jackets. Smith off the top of a block sends it over. Woodard off her back foot, sends it over. Blazetic on a dive, keeps it alive. Contras sends it over to Smith, who hits it over. Tumala with a set. Herkenrother with the kill off the deflection from Katarina Blazetic. Kate Jean on serve for the Tartans. It's played by Paige Contras, up to Katarina Blazetic, over to Gabby Schlecht off the top of the net. Set up for a back row attack from Jean on a dive. Blazetic keeps it alive. Woodson to Smith. It's blocked at the net, then punched back over by Woodson. And Carnegie Mellon had a little bit too much traffic in front of the net. A couple of collisions were trying to be avoided, and that resulted in the ball hitting the court and a Yellow Jacket point. Jean will check out for Carnegie Mellon. Coming in for the first time today, Bryn Schern, a 5'6" sophomore defensive specialist from Inglewood, Colorado, and Valor Christian Academy. Paige Contras on serve. Gavros up to Tumala, over to Woodard, into a block. It's backed up by Herkenrother. Tumala with a quick tip, played by Contras. Then Smith will play it over a block with a soft hit, and it's down for the Yellow Jacket kill. With that point, the Yellow Jackets are within one. They trail at 6-5 here in the second set. They're down 1-0 in this best-of-5 match. And it is the lid lifter on what is a busy day of volleyball here at Baldwin Wallace, as this is a first of 4 matches that will be played at BW today. And Contras' previous serve sent long out of bounds. So the point and the serve go over to Carnegie Mellon, and Zoe Gavros will do the honors. It's played by Kastner, over to Contras. Back row attack for Gabby Schlecht. Hit by Jackson into the Carnegie Mellon bench, and the Tartans will not be able to catch up to that one. It's a point for the Yellow Jackets. Lexi Smith will check out. Morgan Kaler will check in. Kaler sends it over. It's played by Jackson, tight to the net. Tumala with the set, and Pan with the hit over, and it's going to be down for a Carnegie Mellon point. Melissa Jin will check in for Bella Woodard, and Jin will go on serve. Played by Kaler, up to Blazetic, over to Schlecht on the left side, dug out by Jin. Over to Tumala, now to Jackson on the left side, dug out by Kastner, sent all the way over. It's tipped over by Pan, played up and sent over by Schlecht, and it's down with a roll shot for the Yellow Jacket point. Gabby Schlecht will go on serve now for BW. Schlecht still looking for that elusive first service ace of the year. It's set over for Pan, and Pan through a block gets it down for a Carnegie Mellon kill. Kate Jown will check back in for Schern. And Catherine Jackson will go on serve now for Carnegie Mellon. Schlecht plays it to Blazetic, over to Nash, through a block, it's down for a Yellow Jacket kill. Grace Kane will serve next for BW, and like Schlecht, still has yet to get a service ace this year. Gavros on the reception. It goes all the way over to the net. Nash fired it back at the Tartans, but it was blocked. Now Woodson sends it over, and that's going to be a kill as Jin can't keep it in bounds. So we're even at 9 here in the second set. Played by Gavros, up to Tumala, tipped over by Pan, and it's down for the Carnegie Mellon kill. Pan will go on serve as Herkenrother returns for Gavros. Pan serve, played in the back by Kaler, and it's tipped over by Woodson, punched over again by Woodson after the Tartans blocked it at the net. Now Jown trying to get an outside hit, but the set from Tumala was a little bit too far, and it went into the post that extends from the net. And that's out of bounds, so we're back to even at 10, and Katarina Blazetic will go on serve. Lexi Smith returns for Morgan Kaler. Blazetic chops down on it twice, dribbles it out 3 times with both hands, draws the right hand back and fires it over, and that's going to be kept alive on a dive by the Tartans and sent over on a free. Blazetic with a set, over to Nash, it's dug out by Jackson. Up to Tumala, over to Jown off the top of a block. It's backed up by Blazetic. Contras with the set, Nash with a smash, and she sends it out of bounds for a Tartans point. Bella Woodard back into the match for Melissa Jin. And Nea Tumala will be on serve, trying to build on what is a slim lead for the Tartans. Smith on the reception. It gets punched over by Nash, then sent back over by Herkenrother before India Woodson puts it down for the Yellow Jacket kill. Katrina Kastner will check in for Baldwin Wallace to replace Lila Nash. Kastner will hit it over with the right hand. Jackson up to Tumala. Right side attack from Woodard off the top of the net. It's deflected out of bounds by the Yellow Jackets. Point for the Tartans. Kate Jown on serve for Carnegie Mellon. It's played by Kastner. Up to Blazetic, over to Lexi Smith. She'll tip it over a block, and it's sent over by Jackson through a block, backed up by Schlecht to Blazetic to Woodson, and Woodson sends it out far sideline, just a little bit too much behind that swing. It's out of bounds, point to the Tartans. Jown punches it over. It's played by Kastner, up to Blazetic, over to Smith. Dug out by Gavros, played all the way over. Tipped down for the Yellow Jacket point by Gabby Schlecht. Schern comes back in for Carnegie Mellon as Kate Jown will take a seat. And it will be Paige Contras on serve for Baldwin Wallace as they look to erase the 1-point deficit. It's played by Gavros on the reception. Tumala with the set. Woodard with the finish at the net, and it's going to be out of bounds. Last touch by the Yellow Jackets. Herkenrother will check out. Sophie Pan will return for Carnegie Mellon, and Zoe Gavros will be on serve. And that's going to be an ace as Gabby Schlecht got caught, really got crossed up, and that caromed off of her left cheek and shoulder area, and the Yellow Jackets couldn't keep it alive. She's trying to blink her focus back in, and I think she's going to get some added time as Coach Kate Latkovic will sub her out, and Ella Rogers, the 5'9" senior outside hitter from Paynesville, Ohio, and Mentor High School, will check in. Gavros stays on serve, and that's going to be another ace as the Yellow Jackets can't return it. Rogers with the reception. It went backwards. Kastner tried to track it down, but hit it into the curtain. It separates the Gymnasium from the field house here at Baldwin Wallace. So the Tartans have found something here with their serve situations. They're going far back right corner against the Yellow Jackets, and BW will burn its first time out of the second set. We'll be back with more second set action for you between Baldwin Wallace and Carnegie Mellon right here on Flow College. Welcome back inside Ursprung Gymnasium out of the timeout. Carnegie Mellon stays on serve. It's played over by the Jackets and sent over to Sophie Pan through a block. She kind of mishit that one and mistimed her jump and still had enough to power it through the block for the Tartans point. Gavros will stay on serve once more. Shern, Tumala, Jackson, Woodard, and Pan join Gavros on the floor for the Tartans. And the Jackets don't even get to play the ball before they get called for an infraction, so the point goes over to the Tartans, and serve will stay with Carnegie Mellon. Kane, Blazetic, Rogers, Kastner, Smith, and Contras on the floor for the Yellow Jackets. Gavros sends it long on the serve. It's a point for Baldwin Wallace. Morgan Kaler will check in to replace Lexi Smith. Kaler will go on serve. Jackson on the reception. It goes all the way over the net, and it's finished at the net for Baldwin Wallace by Grace Kane. So Kaler will serve it over. And Jackson plays it. Tumala with the set. Pan with the hit. And on a dive, Kaler will keep it alive, but Rogers can't keep it in play. It's a point for the Tartans. Melissa Jin will check in for Bella Woodard. And Jin will go on serve. Played by Kaler, up to Blazetic, over to Rogers. On a roll, she gets it over. On a dive, it's kept alive for Carnegie Mellon. Jackson through a block. It's backed up by Kaler, then tipped down by Carnegie Mellon at the net. Played over by the Jackets once more. Jackson with a big swing from the left side. Sends it over. Kastner to Blazetic, and it's set over and down by Grace Kane for the Yellow Jacket point. Lila Nash returns for the Yellow Jackets and replacing Ella Rogers and going on serve. For the first time this weekend, it will be Jamie Snell, the 5'4" senior defensive specialist from Strongsville, Ohio, the former Mustang, on serve. Floats it over. It's played by Shern. Now to Pan into a block, backed up by Gavros. To Tumala, over to Jackson into a block. It's blocked out of bounds by the Baldwin Wallace Yellow Jackets. Point to the Tartans. Catherine Jackson on serve for Carnegie Mellon. They lead it 20-15 here in the second set, and they're up 1-0. Kaler on the reception, up to Blazetic, Over to Kane, and she muscles it out of bounds for Carnegie Mellon Tartans point. And a timeout on the floor has been called by the Baldwin Wallace Yellow Jackets. They trail it by 6 late in the later stages of this second set. We're going to take a timeout with them. We'll be back with more action between Carnegie Mellon and Baldwin Wallace right here on Flow College. Welcome back into Ursprung Gymnasium and the campus of Baldwin Wallace University. Carnegie Mellon on serve. It's sent over by Lila Nash, but dug out by the Tartans on a dive. Jamie Snell will keep it alive for BW. And Kane will get the finish at the net for the point as the Yellow Jackets cut the deficit to 5. They trail it 21-16 here in the second set, and they are down 1-0 in this best-of-5 match. Grace Kane on serve for the Yellow Jackets. It's played by Zhao up to Tumala, over to Payne on the right side. Kane hits it, and the Yellow Jackets won't be able to keep it alive as Snell and Kaler can't get to it in time for a second hit. Sophie Pan will be on serve for Carnegie Mellon. Kaler on a dive reception, keeps it alive, but sends it over, and then Zhao with the finish from the left side for the Tartans. Sophie Pan will stay on serve. It's received by Kaler, up to Blazetic, over to Nash on the left side, dug out by Jackson. Over to Tumala, now to Zhao, and it's down for the kill on the deflection. Snell got a hit on it, but couldn't elevate it, going too far to her left to reach for the ball. And it's set point now for the Tartans. Pan on serve once more. Jumping right-hander played by Kaler. Up to Blazetic, over to Nash. She tips it over a block attempt, and it's hit under the net by the Tartans. Point for the Baldwin Wallace Yellow Jackets. Zoe Gavros will check in for Sophie Pan. And it will be Katerina Blazetic on serve for the Yellow Jackets. And that's going to be an ace as there was a miscommunication. Zhao was going to play it, but Jackson was right on her hip. And thus the area of movement was severely limited for the Tartans. And it's a point for the Yellow Jackets. Blazetic stays on serve. It's played by Jackson. Up to Tumala. Over to Zhao on the left side. Into a block. It's down for a Yellow Jacket point. Woodson and Smith combo the block. And Blazetic stays on serve. Jackson on the reception, up to Tumala, over to Herkenrother. She'll send it over. It's hit by Snell to Blazetic. Now Smith off her back foot sends it over. Gavros to Tumala, over to Zhao, puts it back row. Snell on a dive, keeps it alive. Nash on the third hit. It's played by Jackson, up to Tumala, over to Zhao, through a block, and it's going to be out of bounds. Last touched by the Yellow Jackets. That's set point for Carnegie Mellon. They now lead it 2-0 as they took the second set by a 25-19 count. They took the first 25-17. The teams will switch ends and take a brief break in between sets. We'll take it with them, and when we come back, we will have third set action for you between the Baldwin Wallace Yellow Jackets and Carnegie Mellon University Tartans in the 2025 Marcia French Volleyball Invitational. From Baldwin Wallace University, you're watching all the action on Flow College. Hello, everyone, and welcome back inside the Ursprung Gymnasium at the Lou Higgins Center on the campus of Baldwin Wallace University, where it's NCAA Division III of volleyball action in the 2025 Marcia French Volleyball Invitational as the Baldwin Wallace Yellow Jackets play host to the Carnegie Mellon University Tartans. 2 sets down, both went to the Carnegie Mellon Tartans. 25-17 and a 25-19 were our set scores, and Carnegie Mellon can close out this best-of-5 match here with a win in the third set. Leading the way for Carnegie Mellon with 10 kills, Kate Jown, 8 for Sophie Pan, 7 for Kai Herkenrother, and it's 4 for Catherine Jackson, 3 for Bella Woodard, and 1 for Nea Tumala. Tumala has 25 of the 28 set assists for Carnegie Mellon. 5 service aces for the Tartans, 4 for Zoe Gavros, 1 for Tumala. And then leading the way in digs with 18, Zoe Gavros, and 10 for Catherine Jackson. The Yellow Jackets led in hitting by India Woodson with 8 kills and 20 total attacks, a .250 hit percentage. Lila Nash has 7 kills with a .240 hit percentage. Then it's 4 for Gabby Schleck, 3 each for Grace Kane and Lexi Smith, and 1 for Ella Rogers. 20 of 21 set assists belong to Katarina Blazetic, and 1 service ace for the Jackets, also belonging to Katarina Blazetic. In double figures and digs, it's Paige Contras with 13. Tumala starts with the serve for the Tartans, and Nash will bury a kill for the Baldwin Wallace Yellow Jackets on the first point of this third set. On the floor for the Yellow Jackets, it's the aforementioned Nash with Woodson and Smith up front. Contras, Schlecht, and Blazetic join him on the floor. Blazetic will be on serve for the Yellow Jackets. Jown to Tumala, back to Jown on the left side. It's blocked out for a Yellow Jacket point by India Woodson. On the floor for the Tartans, Zoe Gavros, Nea Tumala, Catherine Jackson, Kate Jown, Kai Herkenrother, and Bella Woodard. Blazetic serve played by Jackson, tight to the net. It's set up for Herkenrother, and she one-hands the ball down for a point off a deflection from Lexi Smith. Kate Jown will be on serve now for Carnegie Mellon. It's played by Schlecht, up to Blazetic, over to Nash, and it's blocked down for the Carnegie Mellon point. Jackson and Herkenrother combine on the block. So Jown will stay on serve. We're even at 2 here in the third set. It's played by Schlecht, into the net nearly, punched over by Woodson, and Woodard keeps it alive and sends it over. Blazetic with a set, Woodson with a hit, Woodard on a dive, keeps it alive. Gavros over to Jackson, and she punches it down for the Carnegie Mellon kill. Jown on serve once more. Schlecht on the reception. Up to Blazetic, over to Woodson. It's blocked at the net. Woodson keeps it alive. Nash sends it over, I should say. Set up for Woodard. And Blazetic will play it right over. Then Herkenrother will send it right back at her. Blazetic got the first hit. It's sent over by Smith. Gavros to Tumala. Over to Herkenrother into a block. And it's down off a deflection for a Yellow Jacket point. Bryn Schurn will check in for Kate Jown for Carnegie Mellon. And Katrina Kastner will check in for the Yellow Jackets of Baldwin Wallace. And Kastner's serve goes long and wide, out of play. It is a service error and point over to the Tartans. Sophie Pan will come into the set for the first time. Zoe Gavros on serve. She chops at it 3 times with the right hand and sends it over on the fly. Played by Schlecht, over to Contras. Played over on a free by Smith. Gavros to Tumala, over to Jackson, left side, and she buries the kill for the Tartans. Zoe Gavros stays on serve. Hits it over, played by Schlecht, and that's going to be an ace as the Jackets can't get a second hit. The ball took a funny carom off of Schlecht's left arm, and the Jackets couldn't get a second hit. Ella Rogers will check back in to replace Gabby Schlecht. Gavros staying on serve. It's played by Contras. Up to Blazetic, over to Lexi Smith on the right side. And it's going to be down for a point for the Yellow Jackets as the Tartans can't get it over in 3 hits. So the Yellow Jackets will go on serve. It'll be Paige Contras who will do the honors. The Jackets trail by 2. It's 6-4 in favor of the Tartans here in the 3rd set. Contras' first serve played by Gavros. Up to Tumala, over to Woodard. Kastner on the dig to Blazetic, and the Jackets mistime their jump, and Kane can't get a 3rd hit on it, and it's down for a Tartans point. Woodard will check out, and seeing her first action of the match. 5'6" sophomore defensive specialist from Minneapolis, Minnesota. Number 11, Izzy Seifert, and Seifert will go on serve. Off the top of the net, played by Kastner, up to Blazetic, over to Rogers. She punches it over. Seifert to Tumala. Big swing at the net, and a middle hit for the kill. It's Sophie Pan. So Seifert will stay on serve for the Tartans. It's played by Contras, up to Blazetic. And Kane will get the 3rd hit. It's blocked back by the Tartans. And it's sent over on a free by Smith. Jackson with the outside attack. It's down for the kill as it got through a block attempt from Smith. And the Yellow Jackets down 9-4 early in the 3rd set will burn their first timeout of the set, and we'll take it with them. We'll be back with more 3rd set action between the Baldwin Wallace Yellow Jackets and Carnegie Mellon University Tartans on Flow College. Hello, everyone, and welcome back inside the Ursprung Gymnasium at the Low Higgins Center on the campus of Baldwin Wallace University, where it's the 2025 Marcia French Volleyball Invitational underway, day 2 action. This is the kickoff of the quadruple header as the Carnegie Mellon Tartans and Baldwin Wallace Yellow Jackets do battle in this opening match of day 2. Izzy Seifert stays on serve for Carnegie Mellon, sends it a little bit too long, so the Jackets, for the moment, quell the momentum from Carnegie Mellon, who started off with a 9-4 lead in this 3rd set, now lead at 9-5. Morgan Kaler checks back in for Lexi Smith, joining Katrina Kastner, Katarina Blazetic, Ella Rogers, Grace Kane, and Paige Contras on the floor for the Yellow Jackets. Schern with the pass, and Tumala tried to tip it over because it was too tight to the net for a set and could not do it. It's technically a service ace for Morgan Kaler. Also on the floor with Izzy Seifert and Bryn Schern is Naya Tumala, Catherine Jackson, Zoe Gavros, and Sophie Pan. It's played over on a free by the Tartans. Now Ella Rogers with an outside attack, and she puts it down for the Yellow Jacket kill. Jackson did a good job to hustle after it and play it backwards so it could be sent over on a free by the Tartans. But the Jackets were in rhythm on that hit. Kaler sends over the serve. It's played by Schern. Up to Tumala, over to Jackson. Dug out by Contras. To Blazetic, middle hit from Kane is blocked back at the Yellow Jackets. Contras with the set. Rogers with the attack. And Rogers sends it a little bit too long along that sideline for the Carnegie Mellon point. And Catherine Jackson will serve now for Carnegie Mellon as Kate Jown has returned for Bryn Schern. It's played by Kaler, up to Blazetic, over to Kane, through a block, and it's down for the point. You had Jown and Gavros both going for it, and both seeing that out of the corner of their eyes. They decided to pull up at the last second to avoid a collision, and that led the Jackets to a point. Ella Rogers on serve now for BW. It's played by Jackson. Up to Tumala, over to Jown, left side, into a block. It's backed up by Pan. Tumala back to Jown with a roll shot. On a dive, Nash keeps it alive to Blazetic. And it'll be sent over. It'll be attempted to be sent over, I should say, by Rogers. But she hits it into the tape, and it falls down on the Yellow Jacket side of the net. Rogers will check out. Jamie Snell will check back in. And Sophie Pan will go on serve for Carnegie Mellon. And she floats it just a little bit too long, point to the Yellow Jackets. And it will be Grace Kane who will be on serve. Contras will check out for the Yellow Jackets. India Woodson will check in for BW. Kane's serve played by Seifert over to Gavros. Now to Jean on the left side through a block. It's going to be down for a Carnegie Mellon point. Lila Nash on a dive, couldn't keep it alive. Contras returns for the Yellow Jackets as Grace Kane will take a seat. And Nea Tumala will go on serve. It's played by Kaler all the way over the net. Hit in the air by Jean, and Woodard clubs it out of bounds. She had a good swing on it, but hit it too straight instead of with a downward motion. Well, that's a point for the Yellow Jackets. Oh, a change at the last second. A call has been made by the stand umpire to say that was deflected by Baldwin Wallace, so the point goes to Carnegie Mellon. And Nea Tumala will be on serve. It's played by Snell up to Blazetic, over to Nash. And Nash hits it into the tape and can't get it over. It is another point for the Tartans. Tumala stays on serve. She'll float it over. Contras up to Blazetic, over to Woodson. It's blocked down at the net by Herkenrother for the Tartans point. Tumala's next serve hits into the tape, and it's an error. It'll go over to the Baldwin Wallace Yellow Jackets, where Katarina Blazetic will be on serve. Checking in for Morgan Kaler and seeing her first action today, a 6-foot senior outside hitter from East Amherst, New York, and Clarence High School, number 4, Taylor Denal. Blazetic's serve played by Jean, and it's going to be an ace as the Tartans can't get a second hit on it. Blazetic's next serve played a little bit too long, point and serve over to the Tartans. Kate Jean will be on serve now for Carnegie Mellon. And it's a service error as she hits it into the tape. Trina Kastner will come on, as will Ella Rogers. Nash and Snell will exit for the Yellow Jackets. Kastner will go on serve. Bryn Schern back for Carnegie Mellon. Kastner serve played by Jackson. Over to Schern. Out of Woodard on the right side. Gets it over. It's played by Kastner to Blazetic. Middle hit from Woodson is down for the Yellow Jacket kill. Kastner's next serve. On a dive, it's received by Gavros to Tumala. Into a block, it's out of bounds off of the Yellow Jackets. Kai Herkenrother with the kill. Sophie Pan will check in. Herkenrother will check out. Gavros sends it over. It's played by Rogers. Over to Contras, back to Rogers on the left side, through a block. Gavros backs it up to Tumala. Middle hit for Sophie Pan, dug out by Kastner. Denal will hit it over. Gavros punched over by Tumala, played by Blazetic to Contras. Over to Rogers, off the top of a block, backed up by Schern. Gavros with the set, Jackson with the hit. It's played up by Kastner. To Blazetic, over to Woodson, it's blocked at the net. Punched back over by Woodson. Rogers plays it. Now to Woodson. It's backed up by Tumala. Over to Gavros. Now to Jackson on the left side into a block. Backed up by Gavros. Tumala sends it over. Kastner to Blazetic, over to Rogers, into a block, it's down for the Tartans point. 18-13, Carnegie Mellon leads it here in the third, and Gavros will stay on serve. Jumping right-handed serve played by Contras up to Blazetic, over to Denal, and she hits it out of bounds. On the attack, error point for Carnegie Mellon. Zoe Gavros on serve, and she floats it a little bit too long for the service error point and serve over to the Yellow Jackets. While we have this opportunity, I want to remind you that today's match is being brought to you by University Hospital's Straczynski Sports Medicine Institute, proud official healthcare provider for BW Athletics and its student athletes, BSN Sports and Nike, the official apparel and uniform provider for Yellow Jacket Athletics, and Dane Andrews and Olympic Forest Products, a global recycling company. You're enjoying today's Yellow Jacket women's volleyball match on Flow College. Paige Contras on serve for the Yellow Jackets. It's played by Jackson now to Woodard, and it's blocked down at the net by Grace Kane for the Yellow Jacket point. Today's match is also being brought to you by City Barbecue, serving and creating happiness since 1999, the Oswald Company, risk and insurance leader since 1893, and Chuck Rotuno and OE Connection, LLC, your global automotive technology provider. Contras is served, played by Jackson to Tumala. Sophie Pan at the net. It's dug out by Contras. Up to Kane, and she hits it into a block for a Carnegie Mellon point. Izzy Seifert will check in for Bella Woodard, and Seifert will go on serve. Seifert serve played up to Blazetic, hit over by Kane on a dive. Shern keeps it alive. Now to Jackson on the left side. She buries it far back corner for the point. Checking in on the previous point, a 5'8 freshman outside hitter from Cuyahoga Heights High School, number 25, Paige Henley for the Baldwin Wallace Yellow Jackets. And speaking of the Jackets, they will take and burn their final timeout of this third set. They trail at 21-15. They're down 2-0 in this best of 5 sets match. We'll be back with the remainder of the third set on the other side of this break in the 2025 Marcia French Volleyball Invitational that you're watching on Flow College. Hello, everyone, and welcome back inside the Ursprung Gymnasium at the Lou Higgins Center on the campus of Baldwin Wallace University, where it's NCAA Division III volleyball action between Carnegie Mellon University and Baldwin Wallace University. Carnegie Mellon on serve in the third set, up 21-15, and they're up 2-0 in the match. Serve played by Henley all the way over, and it's tipped back by Carnegie Mellon. Henley with a big swing from the outside, and it's deflected out of bounds by the Tartans. It's a kill for the freshman from Cuyahoga Heights. Morgan Kaler comes in for Taylor Denal, and Kaler will be on serve. Kaler sends it over. It's played by Shern. Over to Seifert. Now to Jackson on the left side. On a dive, it's kept alive by Kastner, but the Yellow Jackets can't get a third hit on it and get it over. It's a point for the Tartans. Catherine Jackson on serve for Carnegie Mellon. It's played by Kaler. Over to Paige Contras. Now to Henley. Into the net. It's down for a Carnegie Mellon point. Jackson's next serve. Played by Kaler into the net. The Yellow Jackets can't elevate. It's match point for the Tartans. Jackson serve. Played over. Kaler on the reception to Blazetic. Over to Kane. She tips it down, but it's elevated by Zhao. John will play it over on a free off the set from Gavros. Blazedic with a set. Henley with a hit, through a block. Gavros on the dive, keeps it alive. Now it's tipped over by Pan, kept alive by Henley. To Blazedic, over to Kane. And it's deflected over to Jean, who plays it over on a free. Kastner, Blazedic over to Kane. She punches it over, dug out by Jackson. Tumala with a quick tip, backed up by Contrast. Now to Henley. She tips it over, and it's out of bounds off of the Tartans. A point for the Yellow Jackets. Lila Nash and Jamie Snell return for the Jackets as Kastner and Henley check out. It's still match point for Carnegie Mellon, and Jamie Snell is on serve. She draws the right hand back, hits it over. It's played up to Tamala. Right side attack from Sophie Pan, dug out by Kaler. Blazedic over to Nash off the top of a block. Jackson to Tamala. Pan with a hit, and Pan sends it out of bounds. It's a point for the Yellow Jackets. Match point number 3 coming up for the Tartans, with Jamie Snell still on serve for the Yellow Jackets. And she will sail it out of bounds, and that will do it for today's first match as Carnegie Mellon takes it in straight sets. 25-17, 25-19, 25-18. Carnegie Mellon improves to 5-1 overall. They are now 2-0 in true away matches, while the Baldwin Wallace Yellow Jackets fall to 1-4 overall. They are 0-2 on the home deck here at Ursprung Gymnasium. Taking a look at what's next on the schedule. In approximately 30 minutes, it will be the John Carroll University Blue Streaks taking the floor against the Mount St. Joseph University Lions in match 2 of 4 on the day here in the Marcia French Volleyball Invitational at Baldwin Wallace. Then at roughly 2 p.m., it'll be Carnegie Mellon doing battle with the John Carroll Blue Streaks. And then at approximately 4 p.m., the Baldwin Wallace Yellow Jackets will host Mount St. Joseph in the concluding contest of the weekend. Taking a look at some final statistics for you in this first match. Carnegie Mellon led in attacks by Kate Zhao with 11 kills. Sophie Pan and Kai Herkenrother each had 9. Catherine Jackson had 8. Bella Woodard had 4. And Naya Tamala had 1. Tamala had 31 of the 36 assists on the day for Carnegie Mellon. Zoe Gavros had 5 of Carnegie Mellon's 7 aces on serve. Tumala and Jackson had 1 each. And then the block assists belong to Zhao and Pan. Leading the way for the Baldwin Wallace Yellow Jackets in kills, India Woodson had 9. Lila Nash had 8. Grace Kane and Gabby Schlecht, along with Lexi Smith, each had 4. Ella Rogers and Paige Henley each had 2. Katarina Blazedic had 26 of the Yellow Jackets' 28 set assists, and she also accounted for both of the Yellow Jackets' service aces. And we had a bunch of block assists. India Woodson had 3. Lila Nash, Grace Kane, and Paige Henley each had 1. And then Lila Smith had 2, leading the way in digs with 17. Paige Contrast. Katrina Kastner had 12. And Katarina Blazedic had 10 to finish off her double-double of set assists and digs. Taking a look at digs for Carnegie Mellon, leading the way with 24 was Zoe Gavros, and then Catherine Jackson had 14. And that will do it for the first match today. And again, in approximately 30 minutes, it will be the John Carroll Blue Streaks against the Mount St. Joseph Lions in match 2 of 4 from the Marcia French Volleyball Invitational at Baldwin Wallace University. We'll be back in a little bit to bring you that second match between John Carroll and Mount St. Joe's on the other side of this extended break. You are enjoying today's NCAA Division III volleyball action on Flow College.